Hi kids. We're going to try something different this time. I'm not going to show you or let you watch a Khan's Academy video, but I'm going to attempt to record myself and teach you a little bit that I want you to know some more about statistics. You might have already figured this out, but to give you a good definition of statistics, statistics is collecting, organizing, analyzing, and interpreting data. Now, tomorrow, the day you're watching this video will be Thursday. Monday, you watched Khan Academy, and Sal talked about statistical questions. So I want to say a little bit. He goes on and talks about line plots. And I want to say a little bit about line plot because I think a dot plot specifically. I think you've had those before, but I'm not sure that you remember exactly how to do them. So I made an example. Sorry, I'm off screen. I made an example of a dot plot. And let me show you this. Can you see that? Okay, so I'm reading it upside down myself. There is a dot plot right there. Let me read to you what it says. A dot plot shows the number of times that each value of a data set happens. So this is an example, and it's about the times of students in a race. So when you see a dot, that means that's how many times it happened. How many times did somebody get 13, I think these are minutes. How many times did someone run 13 minutes? Well, one person did that. How many people ran 13 and 1/10 minute? Two persons did that. So when you see a dot, it's the number of times that particular thing happened. If you would count up all of these dots to see how many times it happened, you would see that there were 20. Let me get this back here like this. And that might be backwards for you too. Boy, I hope not. Because I've got the camera turned backwards. Jeez Louise. Well, we'll see. Anyway, that's the number of students that participated in this race, and there would be 20 students. So that's just a little bit about dot plots. Now, the reason I'm including the dot plots is because you're going to have to use display data like dot plots sometimes to do the next thing that we're going to do, and that's called the mean. Really, I didn't say this before, but it would be a good idea if you're watching this, for you to take notes so that you'll have something to look back at. If you happen to still have your math, or to have taken your math book home with you, that fateful Friday the 13th, I think it was, you can look in lesson 9 too, because that's what I'm doing right now, and it's the mean. And a good definition of mean is it's a data set that you add together and then you divide by how many ever pieces of data there are. Another word for mean is average. And so sometimes you just get a set of data. This one was from page 420. The one on top. These are the weights of dogs. And you see one of the first one weighed 18 pounds, 9 pounds, 20 pounds. There's one that weighed 89 pounds. That's an outlier. We'll talk about that in a minute. 44, 13. I can't read that backwards. 54, 45. Okay, so what I did was I added them all up. And I got 332, and I counted how many there were. There are 8 pieces of data. I divided by the 8 pieces of data, and my answer was that they weigh, if I took the average, if I found the number that would represent the whole group, but not be exactly what everyone is, but this is a representative of the group, the mean is 41 and 50 or 5/10 pounds. Don't forget to label, she said. Okay, so that is the mean. Now, this is from page 420, number 1. Try this. So now I have another thing to show you from page 423. And on this one, I'm telling a story that is not from back. Yeah, it is. Okay. So this is modeling real life. And let me read you the story first. It says, the table shows the heights of several Shetland ponies. Describe how the outlier affects the mean. Then use the data to answer the statistical question. What is the height of a typical Shetland pony? Remember those statistical questions? They always focus on one number that can represent the whole group. It's like typical of the whole group. Okay, so right here, I made a little chart. And these are, it's just a way to organize this data. This is how tall these Shetland ponies are in inches. And then I took this data right here, and I made, it looks like a number line, doesn't it? I think I counted by 2s anyway. Did I count by 2s? Yes. 28 right here. And, okay, so I started up here, and I just started putting a dot. Every time I saw one of these numbers, I would put a dot for it. Okay, so say, for instance, for 40, there were 3 40s, so I put 3 dots. I just went along and dotted it as I went. Here's what the question they asked. First of all, they said, what is the outlier? An outlier is a number that's not like all the other numbers. It's either a lot higher or it's a lot lower than all the other numbers. And in this group of numbers, the outlier is the 28. Look at how far away the 28 is from all these numbers right here. Right here is a cluster. We call this a cluster. That means there are a lot of them in this area. This is a cluster. And there's a big old gap between these dots and this dot. That's a gap. And that makes that an outlier. The tallest one is a peak. Peak just means the tallest point. So what they want you to do is to find the mean with the outlier and without the outlier and see what the difference is. Now, I'll tell you ahead of time, I didn't have enough boards to do this, but I'll tell you ahead of time, I probably shouldn't let the cat out of the bag, but the outlier is a smaller number than all the rest of them. It's going to make the average, what do you think it's going to do to the average? How about this? How about you stop the video and see if you can find the answer to the mean with the outlier. That means that you're going to add up all of these. You're going to add up 28 and 37 and 37 and 38 and 38 and 39, 40, 40, 40, and 42. You're going to add them all up. And then since there are 2, 4, 6, 8, you're going to divide by 10 to find the mean. Next time, you're going to do it again. And this time, you're not going to include the 28, which I have rubbed off the 2 here. You're not going to include the 2 in 28. There I am dropping things just like I did at school. I'm sorry. Don't include the 28. I'm sorry. I got all preoccupied because I'm marking. Let me start over again right here. The second time, you're going to add up all of this data, but leave off the outlier, which is 28. This time you'll divide by 9. See what the difference is in the number in your first mean and your second mean. And see what a small outlier does to an average or a mean. Okay. I have assigned to you, I'm going to take that thing down. I have assigned to you a page. I think it's got maybe 7 questions. I'm not sure. It's not very much. But you need to follow the directions and fill that out. And then, I'm not sure I understand this, but I think you have to attach your worksheet to something. Is it something that Miss Smith or Miss Bissell explained to you? That your worksheet has to be attached? Anyway, I'm going to get off here. And I just want to tell you that I miss you all so very much. And I look forward to the next time we see each other. Bye.